we get these recorded, I'm uploading them to YouTube. One thing I would ask each of you to do as a personal favor, if this helps you in any way, if any of these videos help you in any way, please share them. It is about getting this information out into the hearts, hands, and minds of people who need it. So we are going to be recording. I'm going to share screen and we'll get started today. So this whole series is about how to retake your personal power. I have said it on many occasions that I think too often in too many ways we give up our personal power and we say that they have taken it away. This circumstance, this situation. I want you to watch the first video that I did, the launch video, so that you understand I'm not coming from a place of privilege or a place of never having to struggle. What I'm trying to help you do is to wade through the madness as healthily as possible. And so it's also important to know that I am not a doctor, medical doctor. I'm not a therapist, counselor, psychologist, or psychiatrist. I consider myself a spiritual guide, advisor, master life coach. I'm a global consultant, coach, trainer. My purpose in life is to help people navigate and to return to their core of emotional intelligence, playing well, communicating effectively, playing well with others, and managing their time. So it's communication, behavior, and time management. That's my purpose, is to help people manage those three treasures. And so if you're under the care of any professional, I want you to not start or stop anything without communicating with them, getting their approval and blessing. I want you to be as healthy as possible, and I want you to understand that anything that I may say today is simply a suggestion, and if you're under the care of a professional, you need to get with them, find out what makes sense for you. So the whole concept today, hello Suzanne, my boat is a Titanic. Love you, mean it. It feels that way for sure. So today is about being productive and not just busy. I think that we get too enamored with, I'm slammed, I'm so busy, I am just overwhelmed. And we say it sometimes like it's a badge of honor, or that it means we're important, or it means we're valuable, or we're impossible to replace. And I have to tell you, I think that being busy is not a good measurement of whether or not you're fulfilling your purpose, whether you're using your time well, whether you're impactful in your immediate circle or in the world. I think that we really have got to change the measurement of being busy to being productive. And so what I believe it is that it's a matter of harnessing your attention, not just your activity. That in a given day, I have caught myself at the end of the day saying, what did I do all day? I know I was busy. I know I was doing things. And in the current state of affairs, I have had days where it's like I was doing something all day, but actually didn't get a whole lot done. It's busy work. It's little things. It's minutia. It's just keeping my hands busy so that perhaps my head doesn't wander, my brain doesn't wander. And so what I want you to start thinking about is, how are we harnessing our attention? How are we managing and disciplining ourselves to focus our time, effort, energy, care, passion on the things that matter? It's really about shifting our perspective from what we thought was important to what truly is important to us. And so I can't say it enough. Managing your attention will spill out into managing your time, managing your efforts, managing your relationships. And so managing your time is really about managing your attention and your priorities, and where are you focusing all of your efforts. And so I want to talk about the difference between being busy and being productive, because I think it's important that we start off on the same page. Busy people work hard. I'm not going to tell you that people who are busy aren't doing anything important. I'm just saying that many times they're working harder than they need to. To be productive, I want you to start thinking about how can you work smarter. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but when you are working, whether at home or in your career, in your business, whatever you are focusing your efforts and energy on, how are you working smarter and not just hard? The other thing is I think that people who are busy tend to get drowned in the details because that minutia comforts them. I think too many times, too many ways, we get so in love with the details that we aren't really focused on what matters, that we have forgotten the overall picture, we've forgotten the 30,000 foot view, we've forgotten the purpose. I think that if we want to be productive, we really are thinking about what's the impact of this? What is the end game? What am I really working on? And to get caught up in the minutia of details that don't matter can tend to weigh us down, stress us out, take us in a direction that doesn't actually finally result in something that matters. We've just spent time doing something, but that thing didn't have the impact that it could have if we'd have been focused on productivity versus just activity. The next thing is, it's happened to me. I let other people set my course and direction based on what they need. And it can be an employee, an employer, a family member, a neighbor. It can be social media. It could be television. It could be fill in the blank. When we are driven by our passion and our desires and not our discipline, we will find more often than not that our time is demanded from us. It's sneakily taken from us by other people's choices. We let other people make choices, and they're driving the direction and the course of how we spend time and how we focus our attention. But as a productive person, you choose. This is what I want to get done today. I really have, I'll tell you what, in the last 144 days of lockdown, I've really shifted my focus to just for today. Just for today, I want to get this done. I want to focus on this. I'm going to, I'm not going to try. I don't even say I'm going to try. My intention for today is to do this. I'm setting my direction for the day, and I'm measuring my activity through the day. I said that today I was going to do this thing, or I said this week I was going to do this thing, and today I'm doing this small part of it. But I choose. And that may mean I'm not on social media as much. That may mean I learn to say no to people. That may mean that I'm going to have to negotiate deadlines with people. But as a productive person, not just a busy person, I want to be in charge. And so I'm going to say to you, if you find that other people are driving you like a borrowed donkey, that it might be time for you to say, hang on, I'm just busy. I'm not productive. And so being productive really means, in my opinion, that we choose. I mean, I recognize at work, sometimes you can't choose, but I'm still saying you may be able to choose the amount of time or the order or the deadline. In some way, you're exerting control so that you are not being battered about by other people's demands on your time and attention. The other thing, and the last thing that I really want to focus on, is being busy versus being productive is really a difference between, perfectionism and purpose. It is entirely too easy, again, to get caught up in the details that don't matter. I have literally had to go in and coach clients who were stressing out between departments about ecru versus eggshell color paper, or this font versus this font, when it wasn't even a marketing issue, it wasn't even a branding issue, right? They're just perfection. This is the better font. This is the right font. This is the right color. And I want you to think about how many times you're comforting yourself by trying to control things, and you're driving yourself and people around you nuts because you're trying to control things that don't matter. Part of our lizard brain is that when things get out of control, we try to control things that we have at hand, but that doesn't seem to include ourself, our nature, what goes on in our skin sac. We're trying to control the immediate surroundings. We're trying to control everyone's schedule. We're trying to control the details of, down to crazy minutia, like, you know, where the plates go or how the dishwasher's organized or whatever. And so I want you to be thinking about, what are you finding yourself in this moment trying to control? And productivity is really not going to be driven by that attention to perfectionism. It's really going to be driven by the attention to purpose. And I've had to let go of many things that I thought, well, it needs to be done this way, and it needs to be done on Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and it needs, you know, but that was a control issue where I was trying to comfort myself about all the things I can't control. And I found myself falling into the rabbit hole of trying to control things that didn't matter. And the issue on productivity wasn't whether or not it was going to be done. Was it going to be done my way? And so to be productive, I think we sometimes have to let go of the things that we think that matter and focus on, what is the purpose? Hypothetically, the purpose is the dishes get done. Do they have to be loaded a certain way? No. If a dish doesn't come clean because it wasn't loaded the way I want it to, then it sits in the dishwasher till the next cycle, you know. But the issue is, what are we driving ourselves crazy with being busy versus being productive? You can apply this to 100 different situations, but I want you to be thinking about this as it relates to how you're managing busy versus productive right now. I can't say this enough. I am a person of purpose, and I am a person of productivity. And I have caught myself claiming busyness as if it was a badge of honor. And so I have to tell you that we have to step away from the concept that being overwhelmed, being slammed, being so busy isn't necessarily the badge of honor that we think it is. I think that what ends up happening is it creates in our mind a victim mentality. It creates in our mind a martyr syndrome. And I think it also creates the circumstance where we fail to recognize the value of rest. That we don't schedule rest. We don't schedule recreation. We don't schedule enough time to give ourselves grace to catch our breath. I want you to break up with being busy. Now, you may find the exact opposite is true, that you can't get started. I still want you to break up with the idea that you have to be busy to be productive. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're overwhelmed over here or can't seem to get started. I want you to break up with the idea that being busy is the goal. What I want you to start thinking about is being productive. And I've got steps for that. I want you to transform your time management by, first of all, prioritizing it. I want you to make being productive at any level a priority. You may literally have executive function lockup right now and not be able to get out of your chair. So for you, the productivity is, I'm going to get out of bed or get out of my chair, and I'm going to go wash one dish, rinse out a bowl. I'm going to go look out the front door. I don't know. For you, that's the productivity measurement. For someone else, it may be, I'm going to start weeding out the things that are not a priority. I'm going to lose some of that busy work. So the second step is, you got to start saying no to the things that aren't priorities. Now, for those of you who are locked up, It may mean that you're saying no to your fear, and you're going to say no to locking up. No, I'm going to do one thing today. So, you know, you can see across the bottom, it says emotional intelligence plays a huge role. The role that emotional intelligence plays in time management is that we stop assigning emotions to our attention. If I don't want to pay, like I got locked up last week, perfect example. All this craziness going on in the world right now, I did not want to do some tasks that I needed to do. And I just couldn't even start them. And I realized that what I had done was I had let go of my emotional intelligence and my ability to discipline and say to myself, you don't have to want to. These are things you need to do. You have a responsibility. So get up and go do those things. Well, once I started doing them, I felt better about myself. I felt better about the project. And so that was one thing. The second thing is that maybe fear is driving you. I'm afraid to do this thing because what about all this stuff going on in the world? Manage that fear in ways that make sense for you. You may find other things where you've attached emotions to activities. And you've got to dig through that and figure out, okay, what do I need to say no to here? I need to say no to my fear. I need to say no to people shaming me. I need to say no to, you know, my need for people to think I'm so wonderful. I mean, I don't know. And we're trying to cram a lot of information in a 30-minute workshop here, but I want you to think about what your priorities are for being productive, not busy. And then I want you to start saying no to the things that keep you from getting there. And the third thing is discipline your attention. It's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of social media, TV, getting lost in something that is not what we need to be doing, that actually is going to make us feel better about our day. And so it's about disciplining your attention. For me, I literally have to set a timer to get myself started. Okay, I'm going to do this project for 15 minutes. For 15 minutes, I'm going to get up and go do this task I need to do. For 15 minutes, I'm not going to watch TV or whatever. I won't log on to Facebook. Pick something and discipline your attention. And you'll find that once you get started, it may be better. If it's not, you know that timer is going to go off in 15 minutes, and you will either choose to keep doing the task you're at, or you'll say, okay, I did that for 15 minutes. Now I'm going to go on to the next thing. But it's about being able to say no to yourself, say no to your emotions that are associated with a lot of these tasks or items that you need to do or not do, and to be able to corral just the things that are in your immediate area of control. The next few things I want you to think about is, what do you not like doing? Do it first. There are tasks, I mean, we're adults. Adulting sucks sometimes. I'm not a huge fan of laundry or dishes or poop scooping. I'm certainly not a fan of dealing with my composter sometimes. What is that thing in your life that you don't want to deal with? Put that on the list to do first, set your timer, and go out and get that thing done. The other thing is time blocking. I have discovered that time blocking has saved my sanity on more than one occasion. And by that I mean is that I block out periods of time every day, and it's a routine of sorts. You know, I water the garden from this time to this time. I get on video, I schedule video calls with friends, family, and clients. And that's part of my time blocking. I would like to get back to where I time block working out on my DVD workouts. Whatever it is for you, consider if you're locked up and can't get anything done, time block 15 or 20 minutes every day for a week to just do one thing. Baby steps, okay? Baby steps. And you see, the next thing is schedule rest and relaxation. Too much of anything is too much. So if you're zoning out too much right now, it's probably not good for you. If you're working too much and not resting and relaxing, it's not good for you. And so What if you scheduled rest, relaxation, recharging, rejuvenation, just like you scheduled anything else? And that you made time for that. It's a reward. This goes back to that emotional discipline of, oh, if I do this thing, then I get to watch 30 minutes of TV. Or if I do this thing, I get to spend 30 minutes on social media. Sometimes we have to parent ourselves. Feels silly, but if it's going to get the job done, I would encourage you to do what you need to do right now to either get going or to get organized in terms of how you're spending your time. So here's a reality check, and then we're going to break for questions. So think about if you have any questions. You can start posting those in the chat room as you need to. Emotional intelligence is key, really, to being productive. And it's about what matters. What is it, if things are falling apart, the productivity issue might be, how can you start prepping for the fallout? How can you start getting yourself and your family ready for whatever may be coming? But it's doing it out of choice and not fear. I would also encourage you to get involved in a mindfulness program, which is where you may be meditating anywhere from 3 to 30 minutes a day. I'm up to 3-4 minutes a day of pure focus on just my breath and listening to some meditative music, but it calms me. It kind of keeps me from cutting somebody, right? We get so frustrated with how people are acting. Everybody feels raw and sharp right now. And 3 minutes to 5 minutes a day of just focusing on your breath. There's awesome meditative music on YouTube. And finding that, centering yourself. If you're like, how am I going to get organized, or how am I going to be productive when I feel like a top spinning and I'm going to just fly apart? Well, then making a list of things to do may not be the first step. The first step may be to calm yourself. I've seen a phrase and I adore it. It says, you can't calm the storm, but you can calm yourself. The storm will pass. It may pass in a year. It may pass in 5 years. Who knows? But you can't control that. But you can control yourself. You are the only thing that you can control. And then the third thing, the reality check about being productive in a quarantine and a pandemic amid social, political, and global unrest. Well, what's important to you right now? Are the things that you thought that were important not really so important right now? So what is important? Of course, we all need shelter. We all need food. We all need, ways to pay our bills. And so what does that look like? If that's taken care of, then what's next for you? And if that's taken care of, then how can you help other people? What's a priority for you right now? And how much of your activity is focused on that? And then the last thing is about giving yourself grace. I hurt when I see the comments that say something to the effect of, well, all those things you said you didn't have time to do, if you haven't got them done during the pandemic, then it wasn't really time. That is so shaming. And I have to tell you, if there's things that you wanted to get done that you haven't been able to get done in the middle of all this batshit craziness, I don't care. I don't want you to beat yourself up about it. I want you to give yourself grace. And sometimes our executive functions lock up in the middle of this kind of a situation, and you couldn't focus on those things. Yay, some people went and got, certifications or finished their degree or painted their house or whatever. Maybe that wasn't you. And I want you to give yourself grace. But I do want you to begin to retake your personal power by retaking control of that time and how you're spending it, to unlock yourself or to free yourself. Whatever it is, I want you to break up with busy. Okay, so either unlock yourself from the notion that you're not busy enough or productive enough, and I want you to unlock yourself from the notion that you're so busy. I want you to start thinking about purpose, passion, productivity. What does that look like for you? And how are you going to get there? So The biggest thing that I want to leave you with today, and let me manage all this. The biggest thing that I want to leave you with today is we are in an unprecedented time. It's insane. And I want you to start thinking about, what does life look like for you? What does time look like for you? What are the things that you thought matter? What does that look like for you anymore? And I want you to think about, what is your purpose? I did a whole show last week about purpose. I want you to think about, what matters to you? Where do you want to go? And how do you get there? Part of spending our time is really about this one precious life. We'll never get this time back. And so how is that going to be spent for you? If you have any questions, I don't see any on the screen. I do want to say hi to a few people that I think I missed earlier. I want to say hi to Tony, and I did say hi to Suzanne and Cindy, and I think there were a few others, and I'm not sure if I got you or not. If you have ideas for a topic that you'd like for me to discuss, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm going to be having a few guests on in the future, and we're going to be doing some more bonus shows. I've had enough suggestions about shows that we're going to add a few bonus shows, but if you have any ideas, please don't hesitate to let me know. And again, I don't see any questions, so I don't think I'm ignoring anybody. So until we get together again, my dear friends, you have been zinced.